Welcome to our channel, ladies and gentlemen. We are in for another wave of abductions if the communication from the ODM is anything to go by. A few minutes ago, as I released this video, ODM released a communication, and the same communication has been shared by Philip Italy. It reads, suspicious people in two vehicles, registration number KCV 760Q, green in color, and KCV 256W, black in color, have been camping outside the residence of the Director of Election of the ODM party, Mr. Ongwen, in Kitengela, since 5 p.m. today. Other vehicles have been trailing his car since Wednesday 19th July. You may be wondering why we even think this is worth noting, but I will tell you that you don't underestimate anything that is undertaken by this government. Just last week, several Azimio leaders and supporters were really abducted. You talk of Pauline Njoroge, who was abducted, and some charges that she was found with narcotics were leveled on him. You will talk of Maina Njenga, who was told that he was in possession of some illegal ammunition. Talk of Raila's aide and bodyguard Ogeta. Talk of Aladwa. We'll talk of Gaucho, talk of Embakasi East Constituency Member of Parliament, Babu Wino. You will mention many of them, several MCAs. And this is the reason why I feel that this information is very important. If it wasn't, then it would have been shared by the ODM fraternity. They're doing it so that we know that if anything happens to Ongwen, then we know what happens. The other reason why we need to take this seriously is this. The Azimio fraternity today announced that on Sunday they will give a way forward, because as you all know, they put a halt to the demonstrations countrywide to mourn and stand in solidarity with the families that are mourning courtesy of the police brutality from this regime. And so when they announced that they would give a way forward, the government is really worried that they might just decide to call for another demonstration, something that William Ruto does not want, because anytime people go for demonstrations, one, it exposes the president that he does not have the people, the legitimacy thing that he has been struggling with ever since he took oath of office. Number two, it really deprives the country or the government revenue, because they have mentioned it that they lose over 2 million, but I think it is above 2 million. It should be, 3 billion or something. So they lose a lot of revenue. And it also exposes them to the international community. And so this is something that William Ruto has vowed that he does not want to see. The other reason why we should take this seriously is because there is a statement that William Samoei Ruto made today, because he's in his 5-day tour in the coastal area. And William Ruto said that he stopped reggae, and so he will follow and stop the demonstrations. You know, the way he wants to stop the demonstration is through ethnic mobilization. You have seen in the Awasi border, the border between the Luo and the Kalenjin community, there has been an orchestrated war between the two communities, and one community is armed and is being protected by the government. If you look at the police brutality, it is targeting the Azimio fraternity, but more so one community, the Luo community. This has even attracted condemnation from some Kenya Kwanza, bloggers. I was happy to see there is a blogger called Bianca. Bianca actually condemned this blanket, targeting of one community. And so when William Ruto said that he would not allow demonstrations, or rather he will stop it the way he stopped reggae, then we can only but assume that he's going to perpetuate what he initiated, what he started last week. These illegal abductions of people to instill fear, extrajudicial killings where the police were even removing innocent people from their houses, especially Vitongoji Duni in the slums. They will easily break the doors and remove people. There's a picture that was trending that I really found very hurting. An old mama who was removed from the house, and she was even struggling to speak in Kiswahili, explaining what really happened. And I was wondering, these policemen who are, committing these atrocities, do they have mothers? Even if the mother has passed on, did they grow with mothers? Do they have wives? Do they have daughters? Do they have sisters? I mean, sometimes we do things because power has gotten into our head, things that when you sit down and start reasoning with yourself, you find it is very inhumane. So with this communication, ladies and gentlemen, we must take it seriously. And that is the reason why I said that we are about to witness another second wave of abductions. And it was full of torture, because I remember at some moment Gaucho had to cause a storm in court when he raised his hand and told the judge that he could identify one policeman called Kipto, I think, who had harassed him, who had assaulted him with other people. And he was saying, "Huyu jamani alileta watu wakanichapa." It means they were a group of people. And so when such a communication comes on, the ODM fraternity wants Kenyans to understand that when they are trying to pursue maybe the other way of talking to the Kenya Kwanza so that we can resolve what is very pertinent to Kenyans, the administration is planning to perpetuate these illegal abductions and killings. Today, the Supreme Court, the appellate court, Court of Appeal, really sent a very coded message to Kenyans when they set aside the orders from the High Court that had stopped the implementation of the Finance Bill Act, the Finance Act 2023. And with that, Kenyans are really alarmed that we have a few days to the main ruling. Looking at it holistically, we can see that this bill is going to pass. The three member judges that were appointed by the president of the Judicial, Madam Martha Koome, are going to rule in favor of the government. And so they have decided, because they want to create chaos in the country, so that as we approach the ruling, everyone will be afraid. No one will go to the street, to question the ruling. No one will go on the street to lament about the high cost of living. Let me just pause and ask a question. Just today, the president released a very emotional speech about the ouster, the military coup in Niger. And he really appealed to that nation for calmness and tranquility. And he was saying that we must uphold democracy. And the president condemned what he was saying, that is an exercise that goes against democracy, an exercise that goes against the will of the people. I find it very, very preposterous that the same thing that is condemning in another country is the same thing happening under his watch. Why should he be very scared when another president is abducted? Yet the same abductions are happening on his own soil. And so, ladies and gentlemen, those who are supporting Azimio should be very careful, because we were told that the police is now acting under the guise of newspaper vendors. They're acting under the guise of the media, the cameramen, and you will not know them. Someone was asking me a very pertinent question, and was telling me, if Raila was the president and he was committing these atrocities, would we still stand up against it? The answer is very simple. An injustice to one person is an injustice to all. And you remember the same quote, when they came for you, I didn't speak because maybe I was not your tribe. They went to the other, I didn't speak because I didn't belong to their category. When they came to me, there was no one to speak, because those who would have spoken were all dead. And I was quiet when they were being harassed and persecuted and being killed. In the spirit of democracy, we do not care who performs the atrocities. Even if it was, in fact, you can check. Even in the previous regime, we spoke against some of these things that we felt were ill motive. This is not about the person. This is about the character and the demeanor and the actions. When something is wrong, it is wrong regardless of who is perpetuating it. And that is why we are saying that we stand in solidarity with the people of Kenya. And the people must wake up and stand for their rights. We want to urge the government to listen to the people. Even if you don't want to listen to Raila because you feel that Raila is your opponent, I don't think that Kenyans are your opponent. Kenyans are saying, lower down the cost of living. Kenyans are saying that we are not ready for the punitive taxes. Kenyans are saying, stop these illegal abductions. And that is not politics, because the right to picketing is entrenched in the Constitution. And maybe let me just pen off by saying that those who for whatever reason will go to exercise their democratic rights of picketing, let us not give this government a reason to kill people. Let people be there peacefully without weapons. And ladies and gentlemen, this is my take.